Hi, everybody. Katrina Rasbold here, and I'm excited to be reviewing the book, The Language of Lenormand. And this is by Erika Robinson. Now, the reason I'm so excited to talk to you about this is those of you who know me know I love Lenormand. Now, I'm a longtime user of the tarot and the oracle cards, 45 years on using those both personally and professionally. Wrote a book on the tarot, the tarot for real people, and I love those cards. However, during the lockdown, I decided I was going to use that 3 months that our store had to be closed for by because of COVID, um, to learn something new. And I'd come across Lenormand a few years before, and I got to be honest, it didn't catch me. It wasn't my time for whatever reason. But I took some classes. Udemy, in fact, Udemy is a system online that has very affordable classes. And I ran into a gal on there called Astrid the Witch, and I love her. And she taught a class on Lenormand, and I was just hooked. I love Lenormand cards now. I read with them every single time I do a professional reading, in addition to the tarot. They're so direct, very specific, very easy system. I love teaching Lenormand, and it's about time to do another Lenormand class. So anytime I can get more information on Lenormand, I'm a very excited girl. Now, there's a super complex book out there and huge, and we're talking meaty book on Lenormand by Caitlin Matthews that I think you'll enjoy. But this particular one, Language of Lenormand, really got my heart. And it's just such a well put together book. It takes you through sections of the classic Lenormand cards and very carefully and specifically, without talking down to you, explains all the different cards in the Lenormand deck. And that's, of course, what a book should do. I love this one because it's. I'm trying to explain this the best way I can, and the words just aren't coming to me. What I will tell you is that if you have learned how to read the tarot and you know how to read oracle cards, you have to forget all of that to learn to read Lenormand, because all of those are telling you look for the symbolism, look into the pictures, look at the colors. Lenormand isn't that. Lenormand is the whip means this, the snake means this. And so it's really specific to the card itself, and there's total consistency in the first standard 36 cards. So what I will say is that we come up with very stuck in our head interpretations for the cards. There's the classic, and then there's our own take on the classic. And what I liked is that hers agreed with mine. So I had to read, when I was reading her rather lengthy discussions on each of the cards, I almost had to say, get out of my head, because it was so on target with how I read. And it just felt soft and friendly for that reason. And it was so well explained. Of course, there's a section on how to read the cards, and that was very well done as also. But I just loved the way that it's laid out, and the interpretations that were given. I think you will too. If you are a complete novice at Lenormand, you never heard of it, pick up a deck, pick up this book, and you'll be able to read very quickly. It's not overly complicated like some systems are. So one of the lines that I liked best in this book really spoke to me. So as much as it is with tarot, Lenormand wants you to look at the cards that are around, and you read them in pairs. So you read the cards relative to the other cards. And the phrase that Erika Robinson used in this book about a particular card was listen to her sister cards. And I just got very emotional about that, because that's exactly what you do. The other cards are going to tell you something about how those cards are read. Now, where I mentioned that I read my Lenormand in pairs and have always read in pairs, that was a really big thing about how I was taught in this book. And I'm looking down because I'm thumbing through. In this book, Erika also sets up ways to read the cards on their own as well. And that's really interesting and very not necessarily innovative, because of course we read the cards on their own, but the way that they're relative to each other is really well laid out. I also love the way that she interprets the grand tableau, which is when you read all the cards at once, and it makes for a very huge, very elaborate and concise reading at the same time, so that you get a lot of information about a lot of different things going on in the life of the client, or as she calls them, the sitter, the person who's across from you. And it's just a really um, great teaching tool. I think you're going to enjoy it. I would recommend it highly as a first book on Lenormand. If you're not going to get another Lenormand book, get this one because it's really wonderful. I will have passages I keep going back to read more and more and absorb more and more. This book is going to be full of highlighter, I'm sure, by the time I get finished going over it in depth. So I really recommend it, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. And be sure and check out some Lenormand. If you get into, we're going into the dark of the year at the time that this video is filmed. And if you want something to learn by the fire or something to just get your interest going during this introspective time, Lenormand is a really great subject to explore. And even if you're not good at tarot or you're not especially intuitive with Oracle, you will be able to read with Lenormand. It's that easy of a system. You're really going to love it. There's also a lot of Lenormand decks coming out on the market. Weiser has a lot. Lenormand has a lot. US Games has a lot. And some of them have expanded cards where instead of the 36, you've got 50, 70. They put extra cards in there, and all of those are great too. So really get to know them, and you'll be glad you did. Thanks for being here, and I hope you pick up the book and enjoy it.